one of the things that I've really kind of gotten into lately, even with pitchers, is this idea of variability or chaos training. And you think about it and you're like, oh, do pitchers really need variability training? Do they really need chaos training because they're 60 feet 6 inches away and they're throwing a 5-ounce ball? And my answer to that would be...
Welcome to another episode of the Cornerstone Coaching Academy podcast, where you will get expert, practical baseball coaching advice you can take directly to your next practice. Let's get started. Here's your host, Coach Kyle Nelson.
Hi, coaches. Welcome to episode number 178 of the Cornerstone Coaching Academy podcast. I'm your host, Coach Kyle Nelson. Welcome to our special episode where we give you a sneak peek inside of one of our monthly member Q&As. So every single month for our elite members, I take any question they have that is specific to their team and exactly what they need to get answered so that they can improve their team, improve their program, and improve their coaching. In this specific episode, we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that one of our members should do with his fall ball team in order to improve their pitching staff for next season. So if you would like to ask a question at our next monthly Q&A, you can join Cornerstone Elite by going to www.cornerstonecoachingacademy.com/cornerstone-elite, and you can sign up there. Enjoy the episode. And our next question is also from Joseph, and Joseph asks, during fall ball, what daily drills do you recommend for pitchers to work on their accuracy and control? So I have kind of a little bit of a different philosophy than what I used to in regards to this. Now, I still have our daily dozen pitching drill series up available for you. I still do like a lot of those drills. I think that they help build a pretty repeatable delivery. But one of the things that I've really kind of gotten into lately, even with pitchers, is this idea of variability or chaos training. And you think about it and you're like, oh, do pitchers really need variability training? Do they really need chaos training because they're 60 feet 6 inches away and they're throwing a 5-ounce ball? And my answer to that would be, just to give you an example, one of my buddies who coaches at a local school, we went out and redid his mound a couple years ago. And when we redid his mound, we found that his mound was not 10 inches tall like it's supposed to be. It was about 17 inches tall, so 7 inches higher. And then it was also about 61 feet 3 inches from home plate. So we had to cut it down 7 inches and move it up quite a bit. And so you're traveling around all these different places, and we assume the mound is 60 feet 6 inches, and we assume that it is 10 inches high. But the reality is that it's probably not. And also you assume that ball is 5 ounces that your pitcher's throwing all the time. However, if you've ever felt the baseballs at the end of a spring game in Illinois, you know that the pitcher's probably not throwing a 5-ounce baseball anymore. Plus, when you think about the difference, I don't know, Joseph, I don't know if you were a pitcher or not, but I pitched through college, and some days you come out and things are just different, right? Like your hands, the weather's cold, so your hands are tough to get a grip on the ball, or it's hot and humid, and so it's slippery, or you overworked your legs a little bit the day before, and so you don't quite have your legs underneath you. Or you got a bad night's sleep, and you just don't feel great, and your sequencing is off. And so things are just kind of always never quite perfect. I can only think of a handful of days where I went out there and just felt like I had everything in my arsenal. I was completely... Sorry, we got a plane going over top here. I'm not sure if you guys heard that or not, but I'll let it fly over here, and then. All right, so you go out and you only have a couple of days in a season where you just feel great, right? And everything is just perfect, and everything's sequenced up, and the fastball's slipping out of your hands, and the breaking ball's spinning right. And so everything else to me is kind of like variable. And so that's why I think it's important that we do variability training with our pitchers. So I have a whole bunch of drills in there, some 37 37 chaos training drills for pitchers. I think I call them variability training drills for pitchers. I would go through there and see which ones are good and could work for your team. Here's what, if you've got a little bit of money, and I don't know how much money your program has right now, but if you had a little bit of money, you could get a couple of 9-pocket command trainers, and you could also get a set of the driveline command balls, which are a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, a little bit heavier, a little bit lighter. Our kids love playing horse with the driveline command balls. And what we let them do is we let them pick. So you picture it kind of like a game of horse where you're playing to a basket. We let them pick the distance they're throwing from. We let them pick the ball they're throwing. We let them pick the pitch they're throwing. And then they throw to quadrants of the 9-pocket trainer. So they throw to four hole things that within that 9-pocket trainer, and they really, really, really enjoy that. And I think it's cool to try to get them to compete against each other in that regard, but also they're working on command because things are different. They're at a different distance. They're throwing different pitches. Something I want to add this year is I want to also add a radar gun component to that. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet. I think I want to get them to be doing this within 70% of their max velocity so that they're not just kind of aiming it, but it is definitely one of the things we do on a lower velocity and intensity day. So, we want to be within 70 to 80%. We do play horse also, or we call it strikes or rockets for us. We do play horse in our bullpen sessions too. So when we have them going side by side, we'll have them play horse against each other. And I think that, again, a great way to promote some competitiveness, and we are also using a radar gun there, so that's going to promote them to, one, throw hard, we're tracking that, and two, to be mindful of location and that kind of thing. So I do think that that's a really, really good way to do it. I really also like, so in the fall, I would make sure also to get your program, your arm care program. I would emphasize arm care warm-up. I would emphasize how we want to long toss. I would emphasize the individual drills that you pick out that fit your team's needs. So you go through our daily drills, you find some in there. You go through our command drills, you find some in there. Emphasize those. And then I would also emphasize a proper recovery afterwards. And that's what I would do with my pitchers in the fall. And I would try to get them into as much of the routine of that as possible, so that when your season hits in the spring, that you have a handful of guys that can lead those drills and run the warm-up and run your recovery, and they know the daily drills that you want to be doing. So 2 areas I'd go to in here. I'd go to the variability training drills, and I'd go to the daily dozen, and I'd pick out what you think works in there. I'd also look into doing some long toss. So here's how we do long toss. When we're going out, it's kind of like the Jaeger long toss with just a little bit of difference. So as we're going out, their arm is super, super loose as they're going out. There is like no tension in their arm whatsoever as they're working out on the long toss. We do not give them specifics like, hey, here's the time, here's the time, the throws, the distance. We don't do that. It's all about feel. How do you feel that day? Do you want to throw a lot? Do you not want to throw a lot? So as we're going out, they're really, really loose, really, really light. They have air under the ball, and they are going to move back quite a bit. So our guys will get back to 200, 250 feet. Some of our guys can work up to, 300 feet, that kind of thing. And so that's okay for them to get out there, but their arm is just loose as they're doing this. When they do get to about 180 feet, though, we will have them throw a handful of some change-up rounds. So they're going to be throwing change-ups, maybe 5, 10 change-ups from 180 feet. Then as they start coming back in from whatever their farthest distance is for that day, as they start coming back in, now they're going to put the ball a little bit more in a line. Now, if you have guys whose arms are not feeling that good, this is a phase that I think you can skip. So if they're not feeling good, they just go out, then they come in and they do their command work. But as they're coming in, now we're going to start putting the ball on the line, and we're going to start throwing it as hard as we can in order to try to build some velocity that way. I've known guys who also will do like a 7 to 9, maybe 11 ounce baseball going out. I do like that as well. So kind of to go back to your question, I'd emphasize the daily drills that you want, and you can mess around with them in the fall. Try some of those different drills and see which ones your kids like and see which ones you think are good. I might go out and purchase some driveline command balls. I might also go out and purchase a couple of those pocket trainers. I think you could probably get all that for around $1,000. The pocket trainers, I think, were like around $300 or so, and then the other ones are, about the driveline command balls you can get for a couple $100 for a few sets, and so that would be how I would approach it. But just put together a plan that you think is going to fit your player. All right, so that is just a sneak peek inside of our monthly Q&A with our elite members. If you would like to be a part of next month's Q&A, you can join Cornerstone Elite by going to www.cornerstonecoachingacademy.com/cornerstone-elite and check it out there. I also just released our newest e-course, which is recognizing, diagnosing, and fixing common hitting flaws. We've been getting some outstanding feedback from our members on that, as well as the 6 infield rotations I just put up for an incredibly dynamic and efficient infield practice. So make sure you go ahead and check that out if you are an elite member. And again, if you're not, you can head over to www.cornerstonecoachingacademy.com/cornerstone-elite to join today. Thanks again for listening. Have a wonderful week and never stop learning.
Thanks for listening to the Cornerstone Coaching Academy podcast. If you liked what you heard here and you're looking to take your team, your program, and your coaching career to the next level, there is no better resource than a Cornerstone Elite membership. Get everything you need to run an amateur team, including dozens of drills, games, practice plans, e-courses, and much more, right at your fingertips, wherever you have an internet connection. Check it out today at cornerstonecoachingacademy.com/cornerstone-elite. We will be back next week with another great episode on the Cornerstone Coaching Academy podcast.